Hey, monkey boy. This time I can prove the Israelites weren't black using ChatGPT. Ha!
So that's what we're doing now? Using AI?
What was that? I couldn't hear you over that smoke alarm chirp you people can't hear. Say that again?
Hilarious and original.
Hilarious and original. Hilarious and original. Hilarious and original.
I said, is that what we're doing now? Using AI to prove who the Israelites are?
That's exactly what we're doing, and I'll show you, boy.
Oh, brother.
2 hours later.
Your room still stinks.
Look at how easily ChatGPT debunks everything you chimps have to say. Ha! You was not kings, and you was not Israelites.
If we're going to use AI, then let's at least use an AI that's trained on the Bible without the Masoretic mistranslations or any agendas and actually tells us the truth.
Liar, there's no such thing.
I'll show you. Let's use Israelite Bot. Go to IsraeliteBot.com and ask the same thing.
Fine, but I bet it'll say the same thing as ChatGPT. No! No!
You see? I told you.
No!
And it shows biblical proof.
No! This is preposterous. I hate this website. It's all wrong.
Stop crying.
Your website sucks.
The Rise of Africa, the continent, the diaspora, and BRICS explores the relationships that are affecting the global economy right now. This book explores the relationships of the African diaspora's influence on the African continent and why this is important in stabilizing relationships with an understanding of how BRICS impacts the future, good or bad. You can order your copy of The Rise of Africa today on Amazon.com.
Neo-diplomacy is the new currency. Neo-diplomacy is the new currency. The reason that I can say that is you have a couple of different factors occurring right now as we speak on the world stage. The dollar is being disrupted. Nations are no longer wanting to engage with the United States. But the third factor that affects each and every one of us is that there is a diaspora from the African continent that's willing and able to engage our brothers and sisters on the continent.
Well, shalom, the Lama, Siemi, Shalom. Greetings to all of my Israelite brothers and sisters from around the world, whether you are the bloodline of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the house of Israel, or you are a Gentile grafted into the house under the blood of Yahushua HaMashiach. I welcome you this morning also. Yesterday, I'm going to say, was a good day. We had a lot of great conversations on the panel, a lot of great discussions in the chat. I understand that that And the chat was crazy. We have a wide variety of thoughts on the idea of reparations. This was not the first time that has occurred. That wasn't the first time I brought that up on this channel. What the legal definitions of reparations are. I had even brought up Balanta. That is an organization that I had discussed with the founder of that organization, Sifawe Balaka. Him and I had discussed this when I was in Burkina Faso. There was a lot of things that was happening at that time that was going on behind the scenes. And when you have things going on behind the scenes, I just let things work itself on out. But what I do is I take note. I take note. I take note because I like I like to understand the mechanisms, the legal definitions, right? You have to understand you can't fight anything in this country, in this society, in this world, because the world has been given over to what? To the wicked. For them to do what? For them to create laws. And then when they create their laws and then they don't follow the laws that they even created, well, that's a problem. Because they were never entitled or entrusted to be literally the lawgivers. You want to know who that title is? That title is under us, the same ones that they have under them. Because why? Because in order for this thing to work in the realm of the natural, you have to have a physical understanding of how spiritual impacts and agreements occur. Over the course of these years, I took and shown and explained all the laws that you would have regarding our people. You know, when our people first came on over as 20 and odd slaves, do you realize that it actually was not slavery for life? They had not yet been enslaved for life. Do you know that in the course and the process of time, that when 1619 occurred, 22 years later, you can see this in the state of Virginia, that by 1641, they had codified and instituted laws to where chattel slavery was in perpetuity. Why is that? Well, it's quite simple. The Negroes coming off, our ancestors coming off the boats, were given special rights and privileges to show and to demonstrate, oh, it's not so bad over here. Yeah, you may have had to make that journey. It may have been kind of grueling, but look at what we have. We did what we needed to do 7 years later, and guess what? We're free. This system actually works. I've created a home. I created a house. I have property. I have a homestead. These white folks actually treat me with some respect and dignity. You can do it too. You're going to have to go through some things, but you can do it too. Do you understand how the system had started and then had been self insulated? Because then 22 years later, those same Negroes, that was the advertising. That's what that was. It was the creation of the model Negro or house Negro, which is very funny because that's the same thing that you use and have in usage today. Um, bound to this secret society. I'm bound to this organization. I've made my blood ties, soul ties, whatever you want to say it. Because why? Because they had to make this thing look lucrative. Oh, okay. So you just have to do this. We can work the land. All right, we can do that. All with the same narrative, keep in mind, which is the same narrative that we have here. And when I hear that narrative being said, oh, we they stole us, they sold us into slavery, they sold us. All I can think about is that's the same narrative that you heard from white people. You can literally go to the Library of Congress. Shoot, matter of fact, you can go to the Library of Virginia. Right over there in Richmond. Think exit 101, one of those. All I know is in order to get around there, you have to navigate some toll roads. Once their servitude was up, hey, you don't need to go on back there. Why do you need to go on back there? You going back there, your family's not even there anymore. They probably went somewhere and worse. Create your life here. I'm telling you, it's better for you if you create your life here. And guess what? As someone that had been brought here when they were very much younger and very much impressionable, imagine you being 11, 12 years old and you just got ripped away from your family. You're going to listen to someone that actually clothed you, treated you right, fed you right, because they were trying to sell the game. You're building up a country, you're building up a legacy on the backs of Judah. So what are you going to do? You're going to have to sell it. Because you have a young, immature audience that has not yet developed into the understanding and knowledge capacity needed to analytically understand and devise what was going on. Why do you think they always targeted a population group of like younger than 13, 14? Because you do not quite understand or develop the mental faculties needed to realize, number one, who you are, number two, what you can do, because you do not have the full training and guidance. Why did the Most High say, look, all those that are 20 and older, they're in the census, they're taking account? Because you now have the knowledge and the understanding of being the young man or young woman that the Most High has accounted at that time frame. At the ages of 13 and younger, you're still very much in a very, very juvenile capacity. So for 400 years, it's arrested development. Because our capacity of growth and knowledge and understanding, I'm going to tell you this, even with my own self, there seems to be some sort of a spiritual wall that we hit. We believe that, and we know that we're great amongst our peers. We could do things so much greater than our peers. But then we understand, and there is literally a spiritual wall. There's always a spiritual pullback, especially if you believe in these scriptures in any form or fashion. Because no, you cannot do it like them. No, you cannot be like them. No, you cannot be ingrained or indoctrinated like them. Because why? Because that will lead to your folly. And when you think that you have made it because they threw some money your way, i.e., Bill Cosby, i.e., Sean Combs, you have then begun to yoke yourself to a power and a system that was not created for you. And then that system, when it takes it back, you then realize what that cost is. Because why? Because they always have some sort of a delineation. You're better than them because of this. You're better than them because of that. You know that degree that we gave you, that sheet of paper that we gave you, know that certification that we gave you know that license that we gave you know this. There's always a delineated factor. And now that system that wanted us, excuse me, that wanted us to be able to say you can do it on your own, you can make it on your own. Well, that system's now collapsing. We could have never made this on our own. But now that we recognize, at least a portion of us recognize that we can't make it on our own, what are we having to do? We have to pray for our families, our friends, our loved ones, that they see this system for what it is. That they begin to have the spiritual blinders taken off of their eyes. And those spiritual blinders, they are cunning. Mind you, they are cunning. When we talk about counting the cost of delineation, the Most High was just telling me one scripture. He said one scripture. This is one scripture. I said, okay, Father. This is Isaiah chapter 11. King James Version, Isaiah chapter 11. I'm going to start here at verse 1. And there shall come forth a rod out of the stem of Jesse, and a branch shall grow out of his roots, and the spirit of Yahuwah shall rest upon him, the spirit of wisdom and understanding, the spirit of counsel and might, the spirit of knowledge, and of the fear of Yahuwah, and shall make him quick of understanding in the fear of Yahuwah, and he shall not judge after the sight of his eyes, neither reprove after the hearing of his ears, but with righteousness shall he judge the poor, and reprove the equity for the meek of the earth, and he shall smite the earth with the rod of his mouth, and with the breath of his lips shall he slay the wicked. And righteousness shall be the girdle of his loins, and faithfulness the girdle of his reins. The wolf also shall dwell with the lamb, and the leopard shall lie down with the kid, and the calf, and the young lion, and the fatling together, and a little child shall lead them. And the cow and the bear shall feed. Their young ones shall lie down together. The lion shall eat straw like the grass, or like the ox, and the suckling child play on the hole of the asp, and the weaned child shall put his hand on the cockatrice's den. They shall not hurt nor destroy in all my holy mountain, for the earth shall be full of the understanding of the knowledge of Yahuwah as the waters cover the sea. There are precepts to that. The knowledge of the of the of Yahuwah covering the earth. Why is that important? Because right now you have the knowledge of wickedness covering the earth, and these are the times of darkness. These are the times of spiritual darkness. Now, when I look at the wolf and the lamb and the shepherd, or excuse me, and the leopard, when I see all that, I believe, this is my opinion, I believe that those are other nations. After those nations have been judged. because this is the exemplary of those that are covered under the blood of Yahushua HaMashiach, that's having Yahusha as the intercessor, as the example for us as we walk and move in righteousness. The cow and the bear. To me, it looks as though that is a reference from out of Jubilees that shows the different nations. Why are they all doing this? Because right now, those nations are at war. Right now, those nations are in war. Whether or not you want to believe it, whether or not you want to just have an understanding of what Fox News and CNN and others will tell you, what the White House will quote unquote tell you. When you're bringing weapons to someone that's fighting, you are default in war. Oh, and a couple of weeks ago, Putin did say that anybody that supports Ukraine with providing them weapons and armaments and other materials, they are subject to the target list. And lo and behold, the U.S. just supplied a whole bunch of weapons to Ukraine. You see where this is going, right? Can't hide behind shadowy talk. All the lies are being exposed. And behind the scenes, they're telling each other, don't do this. We already know what happens, but you have a choice. You can lay down now. You can lay down. Admit your defeat. You can lay down. Perhaps you won't be as judged. Maybe. Hopefully. But no, the wicked will say that they don't fear Yahuwah. And this is the crash course. This is the collision that not only the wicked are driving towards, but the agendas that the wicked push on our people that still try to create the friction. Well, we know we're going down, but when we go down, we want to throw in as much junk and clutter into the works that as we go down, we could be able to rise again because we've created and implanted that seed of vanity that we hope will take root when you're out of captivity. So then you will become a weakened nation. And when you become a weakened nation, we will then be able to rise up again and reclaim and reconquer. Unfortunately, our people don't understand their thought process. They know that they lost. Now they're going to start to do contingency efforts. What can we do? How can we do this? How can we spiritually keep them entangled? Well, when they go back on over, they can have this pride and this arrogance, and that's not going to serve anyone, and it'll start to create that rot. Let me show you. Isaiah 11 and 10. And in that day there shall be a root of Jesse, which shall stand for an ensign of the people. To it shall the Gentiles seek, and his rest shall be glorious. Why are the Gentiles seeking this? Because when you've lost the resources, they're going to revert back to their basically feudal medieval days of fiefdoms. They'll go back to their moniker of only the strong survive. They'll go back to their predispositions of you are able to rule over who you delete. See, what you thought as culture in these movies was really their heart. You were literally being indoctrinated into their thought process and understanding. And now it took about 20, 30 years for that to be realized. Well, these Negroes have done messed up now. And as they're messing up, we need to ensure that they have the context in mind of our culture, of our legacy. That's what they want us to bring. We know that we cannot crush you. We know that we lose in the end. But maybe, just maybe, we can corrupt you just a little bit. That you'll have those little vexing spirits that will have that vexing idiosyncrasies that would then create enough friction that as the years, decades, centuries go down the road, folks will be saying, well, I'm FBA, I'm ADOS, I'm this and that. Why does it even matter? You're on the continent. Well, it does matter because I'm showing my heritage. We're all in the house of Judah. Let me show you. Man, these scriptures just come alive. Isaiah 11:11. And it shall come to pass in that day that Yahuwah shall set his hand again the second time to recover the remnant of his people, which shall be left from Assyria and from Egypt and from Pathros and from Cush and from Elam and from Shinar and from Hamath and from the islands of the sea. That's actually us. Isaiah 11 and 12. And he shall set up an ensign for the nations, and shall assemble the outcast of Israel, and gather together the dispersed of Judah from the four corners of the earth. You know, I would suspect that it would have been more palpable that instead of using Isaiah 11 and 12, more than likely, it's probably a better marketing tool to say Isaiah or to say Agenda 2063 or Agenda 2030 or the decade of justice. Because to be honest, if you said Isaiah 11 and 12, that's too obvious. However, when it's all said and done, when everything has been shaken loose, when they have realized that everything had come to pass just as the word had stated, the nations that held us captive will see what's happening and what has happened. Remember, they're spiritually blinded. Only a few of them can actually see what's happening. And those few that actually understand what's happening, they're in our channels, they're in our chats. I'm not going to dissuade them. I'm not going to discourage them from coming in here and understanding the truth. Absolutely not. I want them to come here and understand the truth because one day, when people are forced to flee and forced to leave, that they may have that reverse Rahab moment. If I don't leave with them, then I'm going to be destroyed. And that time is coming sooner than later. All Trump is doing is just literally he's hastening that time. He's showing you that that time is here. They want to come on these YouTube videos and TikTok videos and ask for apologies and things of that nature. Look, ask for forgiveness and repent, and then follow Yahushua HaMashiach. What does that mean? Guess what? You're going to have to talk. You're going to have to declare. You're going to have to say. You're going to have to put yourself in some very uncomfortable situations amongst your friends and your family. You're going to have to bear that cost. The cost of being ostracized, the cost of being isolated. Yeah, you're going to now have to bear that burden. But that yoke is easy and that burden is light compared to right now. We all know where we're heading. That's why I apologize, family. I was 10 minutes late. I literally have fallen asleep. Got up at 3:45 in the morning. I think when I woke up at my normal time, I was so sleep tired. I thought I hit the snooze and I actually hit the stop. Next thing I know, it's bright, shiny. And I said, "What time is it?" That thing said 7:04. I said, "Oh man, am I even going to be able to make it?" Said, "No, I will." I said, "Thank you, Father. I give you praise." Yes, brother Gart, the birds were chirping, and I'm like, "Oh, the birds are chirping." I said, "Yeah, I'm running late." But the Most High literally had given me this topic to talk about, and I thank Him for it. You know, these are the things that He brings up because these are the concerns amongst our people, because our people have to understand there has been a cost. This has been a divide and conquer. And they've done this tactic for centuries, not decades, not years, not weeks, centuries. And now, all of a sudden, as we're starting to wake up in the four corners of this earth, as the Most High has declared that we are going to wake up. Oh, you're going to wake up. You may not wake up. Matter of fact, your wake up actually may even spell your doom. Because we are a remnant. Like I had said, there's going to be a choice. Here we go. This is a cornerstone right here. Isaiah 11 and 13. The envy also of Ephraim. The envy also of Ephraim. Let me say it one more time. The envy also of Ephraim shall depart, and the adversaries of Judah shall be cut off. Why is that? You will not have the influence of the adversaries. I don't care what and how you've yoked yourself to this system. It does not matter to me. But all I know is if you are a mouthpiece to Babylon, oh, you're going to be cut off. you will be cut off. I'm not saying it, the Most High saying it. That's what his word states. Let me finish this scripture. Ephraim shall not envy Judah, and Judah shall not vex Ephraim. Ephraim shall not envy Judah, and Judah shall not vex Ephraim. But they're trying to take our reparations, but they're trying to take our monies, but they're trying to. Hold on. It's not like that. Ephraim saying, hold on. I get what you're saying, but it's not like that. We need you to come back. Where do you think this money comes from? Where do you think this idea of money originates? How do you think they even count money to begin with? Hold on. We need you. We need your help. We have had people in our land telling us that we're better than our brothers and sisters over that have been taken. And then reality, as they're trying to flatter us, as they're trying to give flattery on their lips, they were making us poor this whole entire time. We didn't understand what you were saying. And then we finally started to understand what you were saying. And we started to rise up and we started to put leaders in place that would do righteously and that would be meek and humble so that the people would be able to be provided for and not suffer in lack and poverty. Shout out to Sister Shar. I was talking to her yesterday. She was tired from yesterday or from Sunday. She was tired. I want you all to understand and appreciate um those trainings. It doesn't come easy, especially when you are pouring out your heart and soul into something that the Most High has told you to do. And our people, when they are tasked to do something, we always do it with excellence. We don't come through with anything janky, especially when that's the Most High that has placed that on you to accomplish. And so, as we were talking yesterday, she was on for a few minutes, and I told her, hey, go ahead and rest. But we were talking about some of the topics that she brought on up. And one of the topics that we had, because we still had a little bit of this discussion also that tied in from yesterday's broadcast, yesterday's live. She brought up a great point. That's why I always will give credit to that person. I don't like to take people's understanding of things. I credit. But as she was talking to us, she said, "Think about this. What's the difference of what Mammon promotes than what the Most High gives? What does Mammon promote?" And I had an answer. And she said, "Kind of, sort of, but not really." I said, "Okay, go ahead, Sister Shaw." Y'all gonna be blown away with this one. Mammon promotes lack and poverty. Mammon promotes lack and poverty. The Most High promotes provision and sustainment. See, we get caught up in the lack and poverty that they are always trying to, quote unquote, fight against. And when they fight against lack and poverty, which is mammon, then they're always at war. They're always destroying. They're always trying to steal, kill, and destroy, because that is the God, the Elohim that they serve. When you're serving the Most High, the provisions of the Most High, you're not in lack or poverty. You're in provisions. You're in blessings. You're in stability. He's a stabilizing force. It's a peace of mind. And when you know that your Father loves you and takes care of you and provides for you, that you will not receive lack, He gives you everything that you need. You just have to be able to manage what He has provided so you can steward that provision, so then He can give you more to steward over. I had to immediately think about Habakkuk chapter 2 that we were reading the other day. The nation doesn't want to keep at home, it wants to go to other places. It wants to take other things. It doesn't want to steward what they have. but they want to steal from others because they're never satisfied with the provision, and therefore they never work the provision. So they're always lacking and they're always in a poverty. Understand, this is an impoverished nation with nearing $40 trillion in debt. It's impoverished. It has a poverty mindset, it has a lack mindset. Even those that have money, guess what? Guess what? They have a lack and poverty mindset. I got to keep getting more. I got to keep getting more. I got to keep getting more. Because why? Because that is mammon. If I don't get more, I'll lose what I have. And if I lose what I have, then I'll be broke. They want to store up instead of utilizing the device of what the Most High has given in order to create a wealth that sustains. Y'all want to know what's happening right now? Liquidity. If y'all don't know liquidity, liquidity is the terminology, the financial terminology of the amount of money that is working within the system. The amount of exchange. If the money doesn't exchange hands, then your system isn't working. And they actually have rates of money exchanges, monetary exchanges, things of that nature. Liquidity, again, is like the blood flow of a nation. Money is literally the blood of a nation because it shows the wealth and it shows the power. This nation is now scared because this nation's uncertain. Therefore, the money isn't flowing. Have you noticed that? Because they're now clamoring, I'm not going to give you jobs. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to buy that. I'm not going to support this. I'm not going to do this because it's fear. And it's fear because they know that potentially in less than 6 weeks, they may be going to war. And even beforehand, it's fear. Mammon tells you to fear your resources because if you give away your resources, if you invest your resources, if you support this or support that with your resources, then guess what? You're going to fall into lack. And literally, that's the opposite of what the Most High says. You have to actually be a good servant with the resources so that what? It provides. So it compounds. So that it continues to be a blessing. See, people weren't concerned about that in their system when the system was working. Now the system isn't working. Now folks aren't really buying or trading or having that type of liquidity moving out, i.e., loans and other things. Which you shouldn't really be taking out loans, but in the system, that's how we had to survive, most of us. But now the system is breaking down because now folks understand I could be a statistic and losing my job. So therefore, I can't have the money move. And then the rich are saying I could lose on out on a prospective deal because I don't see things getting any better. You have a system where people are scared to do anything. They, by definition, have paralyzed themselves. They went through a paralysis, one that we did not create. So when I see this delineation, if we're all children of the Most High, if we're children of Israel, then why the need for fear? If you know that the Most High has already given us the scepter, then why fear? Ephraim shall not envy Judah, and Judah shall not vex Ephraim. What does that mean? Things are going to be put in place that the Most High has already decreed of the order of his people. That means that when you understand Genesis 49, Deuteronomy 33, those are our edicts as the tribes. Isaiah 11 and 14. But they shall fly upon the shoulders of the Philistines toward the west. And they shall spoil them of the east together. They shall lay their hand upon Edom and Moab. And the children of Ammon shall obey them. What? Wait a second. Let's understand this. When we get our act together, the nations that had been in conspiracy against us, come, let us cut them off from being a nation so that the name of Israel shall no more be in remembrance. That Psalms 83, that conspiracy of the nations will dissipate. It has to disappear. It will be destroyed. That confederation will be destroyed. I don't want the African Union. I don't want. What you're not seeing is the big picture. when we understand and how we move in accordance to the word that the Most High has put on out there, when we as a people decide, it's a heart problem, it's a heart thing, it always has been. When we decide to not be stiff-necked and we decide to take up the mantle that the Most High has given us, the scepter that He has given us, but we can only take up the scepter when our hearts are prepared to do His will. Are you going to do the will of the Most High? No, not really. Then why are you going to get a scepter? Are you going to do the will of the Most High? No. Then you ain't going to get no scepter. Will you do the will of the Most High? Yes, I will. With all my heart, with all my soul, with all my being. Are you going to obey? Yes, I will. I'm tired of not obeying. I'm tired of being destroyed in this system of lack and poverty, which is the system of mammon. If you notice, when you have more, the enemy wants to take more. Oh, you have that? Well, let me make sure that I can sue you and 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 sue you. I can recall this and that and that and this. Man, why do you think that they want to try to off now Ghislaine Maxwell? They're trying to put on in here. She is not suicidal. She is not self-deletional. Because why? Because we all know what they were doing. Setting up these folks. If you don't comply within this system, then we're going to let out all the dirty secrets. Because that's all this system is meant for. How many of our brothers and sisters have been in compromising situations? But that's what they do. Oh, we love you. We support you. Now that you have made it, you need to come to this party. You need to come to this get together. You need to meet with this person. And then they walk right into the trap that's laid for them. Because why? Because if you don't have any spiritual understanding or discernment, you're going to go right into the trap that they played. Got you. Now you're ours. Now you've been branded. Instead of a physical brand, they now give you a spiritual one. And if you say something now, then we're going to bring this on up. We have this video here. You have this compromised situation there. Because that's how the wicked function. The wicked know that the control of this world is to keep people in lack. Well, Sister Miss Tassis, as a retired banker, why don't we then create a bank on the continent? We would love to have your expertise. I won't say any more about that here right now, but you can reach on out to me, covenantawakenings at gmail.com. But now you're starting to see how everything has been laid out for us to fail. Thank you, Mrs. Tassis. This was the control mechanisms. But let me tell you, as that conspiracy starts to fall, starts to wane, you realize. So, yesterday I was talking to my committee for my dissertation. I'm trying to finish up this doctorate degree. Had a couple of different things that I need to clear on up just to make it, because I got to get in front of a panel, a board, and I got to defend my proposal regarding BRICS. And what I was working on and what I'm still working on are some really key endeavors. It's a blessing to do something academically that you actually want to do. And it's funny because, in the academic sense, I understand, you have to have this is here, alternative economic system, blah, 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 blah. But the reality is that, to me, what I've come to recognize in my research is that BRICS is literally a spiritual reckoning. It's a spiritual reckoning on the West. These nations have learned to be subservient and in lack and in poverty by bowing down to mammon. And as mammon is then pushed in front of them, in front of their faces, they began to tear away. They began to say, you know what? That's not it. That's not what's going to happen. And they began to be judged. And I simply say this because the Most High has allowed them to stand up to do judgment, to stand up and do what the Most High had said that they were going to do. They don't want to tell you how scary BRICS is for them because they know that BRICS is actually judgment. They just call it BRICS. Oh, yeah, it's that thing with Russia and China. They know exactly what that thing is. That was always, to me, the embodiment of Jeremiah 50 and 51. So now we have a spiritual reckoning occurring. Because let me just explain this to you all, family, because I forgot to mention this here. In order for even the African Union to be so bold as to suggest that they will carry the fight for reparations, that did not happen 15, 20, or even 30 years ago. That would have been preposterous. That would have been unheard of. What this is it was a reckoning. Now, in terms of the mechanics of all this, it still has to be sourced out. But I would say that for me, I would rather, this is just me personally speaking, and I had said this, look, to me, it would be safer to have my funds outside of the United States. Let me have access. Let's say, give me access to at least 10% of my funds. Just so I can get my affairs in order. Sundown out the debit card. Let me biometrically enroll, and I'd say biometrically a picture. You know, the crazy thing is I had talked about this like just in length in the background. It's just hilarious that they put this on out there. You have your authorized AU enrollment centers. Because the rollout would have to be very, it'll be a great feat. Because you know what will happen if you had access to quadrillions of dollars, then everybody and their mom is going to be like, "Oh, well, you know what? I'm literally this and that. I'm 5 generations from having a Negro." I looked into my ancestry. I was watching that the one man on PBS. See, there you go. 7 generations ago, I was black. Don't let the skin color fool you. Okay, so if you were, we'll do the calculations. If you were seven, okay, so we'll take that 1 to the 28th power, or 2 to the 7th power. We'll do those quick calculations. That's 1/128. So you're just gonna get a 1/28 percentage of your funds. There you go. But that's only $3. Well, I'm sorry, but hey, it is what it is. I don't make the rules. You're telling me I'm only going to get $30 a month? Yeah. You only telling me I'm only going to get $100 a month? Mm-hmm. But that's not fair. I don't know what to tell you. Sometimes life ain't fair. This is why we got our reparations to begin with. Because remember, y'all didn't treat us fair. I'm just saying. Yeah, that's what they're going to be claiming they're less than 1%. Well, no, that's the wrong way to say that. Because when you're saying roll out the debit cards, houses, and cars, no. That's how you actually get deleted. If you really think you're going to be here in peace and safety after they roll out a reparations program that you have access to, no. And I'm sorry, that is really the most dangerous line of thinking. You will be chased up on out of here. Because I guarantee you what they will do is they'll stop refusing service to us. Now, understand, we kind of have a limited scope in terms of reparations. Remember, the whole cost of that delineation, FBA, and all that other nonsense. My question is, how come you're not including our brothers and sisters in Brazil and South America and the Caribbean? That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That's the mindset, Notorious Hebrew. As soon as it touches my account, I'm out of here. Now, are you going to get all of it? Honestly, I would say, again, 10 to 20% just to get your affairs in order. If they give you time. Question is, if give you time. No, it's not. It's not. But see, that's the whole thing. It's not an FBA only event. We made it over here into the Americas. How many of our family got dropped off at all these other islands and places? What about our family in the UK, in Europe? As I read the scriptures, I didn't see that he was only going to recover, he was only going to restore, he was only going to do things for just the U.S. only. I didn't see that. But that is the cost of delineation. Because why? Well, what they will do, then they'll say, well, do you really identify? Because if you do, then we can take up our own case. And you really think that anything here that they will support that measure? No, he will set up a table in the presence. Exactly. However, when he's recovering you, guess what? That means you're going to be fleeing. That means you're going to be moving. You just don't stay in the presence of your enemy when the Most High clearly said you got to go back home. To me, I think this will be the last test. So if they're saying that now, I would give it, you know how this thing works on now. It's usually about 18 to 24 months. They're giving themselves a 2 years cushion, a 2 year head start, which also means chances are they're about to go to war very, very soon because they like to hit you with this moment of time. Oh, yeah, reparations. And then boom, here comes war. So then you forget this topic. You're in survival mode. You're in lack mode. So when you're in lack mode, you're in survival mode. And you're not thinking about what the Most High and His Word and His provisions are given, have already given you. But you want to know what? I do think it's funny that I had to come out of Isaiah 11 because this is where we are at in this. Let me finish up this scripture. 11 and 15, and Yahuwah shall utterly destroy the tongue of the Egyptian sea. What is that? Their voices, their influence. Their influence is about to be destroyed. Their thought process is about to be destroyed. Whatever stronghold that was on us from Egypt is about to be destroyed. And with his mighty wind, he shall shake his hand over the river and shall smite it in the 7 streams and make men to go over dry shod. And there shall be a highway for the remnant of his people, which shall be left from Assyria, like as it was to Israel in the day that he came up out of the land of Egypt. That's Isaiah 11. But I want to come back into here, Isaiah 11 and 13. The vexing and the envying. The vexing and the envying. And like I said, this is going to be one of the hardest things for us. I don't know about you all, but I want to do better than what our ancestors did. That's just my personal opinion. And in order to trust the Most High, you have to trust the Most High through the process. That's a hard thing for our people. Will we trust the Most High through this process? I just think that if they're allowing that to be said, especially right now, it's a really telling, it's really telling. But I also have to say to our people that may not understand the actual legal leads to this, how would you ever bring a case against the people if you're still in captivity under them? You know, I always say, remember, the Most High had put these folks over us for our disobedience. And the name of the game is humility. Let them play the game, because at the end of the day, the word is already declared. The word has already declared that we've won. And what I'm doing, I'm trusting the Most High through this process. So at the start of this process, I would say be ready for anything. I do think that there's going to be a couple more levers and mechanisms that will be pulled as this starts to go. Like I had stated earlier, the only reason that the AU could even say something like this, especially now, is because they're controlling their resources. Let them play the game, because all they're doing is literally the Most High's will. You will be so surprised of what the Most High does and how he does things. But this is an operation of, do we trust the Most High? It's easier to say it. It's another thing to put it into practice. And all I know is that he's a Most High of increase, of provision. He's not a Elohim of lack and poverty. And if you don't think that that's the case, let me tell you, the scepter was already in David's hands. You realize David already had the scepter. He had already been blessed with the scepter. But what did the Most High do? He had to have David wait so David could go through the test, through the trials, so that when he did become king, he knew how to be a righteous ruler. No, I was giving that anecdote. Nobody said 10%. I was giving that anecdote. I had stated that. I was saying I would provide 10% to us here so we can then get our affairs in order. You think you put that money in a bank? Oh, okay, great. Sorry, your deposit got canceled. Sorry, due to. And the reason I can say that is because we've gone through this here personally. We're going to have to freeze your fund because it's part of AML, anti-money laundering, and KYC, know your customer procedures. Nah, yeah, and that would not happen. It would not be tax free. They'll tax it to the nth degree. I had some ideas on that. There are things that can be done. It's feasible. I've had some ideas. I've had some thoughts. I've spent plenty of time thinking about this. Even had come through and had some schematics of sorts. But I'm not going to say that here because honestly, they're listening so they can then try to reverse engineer things that we say and what we do. But yeah, no, I know it's hard for folks. Are you going to trust the Most High or are you going to trust Mammon? So I'm just giving you my thoughts on this. Like I said, I'm not the authority. I'm not the end all be all. But I do know one thing. I thank the Most High for what he is doing and what he is showing and how he is moving on behalf of his people. But again, this is going to be a strange salvation. This isn't going to be like it was the last time in Egypt. Yeah, that's what I was thinking, Brother Fast Nickel, about 37 or 38%. So yeah, now I've kind of gameplayed this. But let's just keep in mind, at least they're now talking about this on a global scale. If they have been allowed to even breathe, was to even breathe this type of information 5, 10, 15 years ago, that would have been a horrific outcry, especially here in the United States. You would have been hearing them, no way, yeah, right, no. The curses are reversing. Now they're thinking, well, maybe we do need to pay. Maybe this is judgment. Yeah, so, you know, so we'll see. We'll see how that goes. And you're right. There has to be accountability, right? We want to see what's going in and how things are moving and how things are going to be fairly distributed. I get that. I get that. There are ways that that can be done, that can be supported. But you also have to remember that it's not just us here in the United States. It's not just us. This is a global thing. This is a worldwide thing. Four corners of the earth thing. So we shall see in these next couple of days, weeks, hours. We don't know, but we shall definitely see. There has to be mechanisms for that. And on top of that, we don't even know who's going to be paying reparations. That should honestly be a conversation of when people are actually paying into, you know, this account, this pot. Look, the Most High is going to show you and direct you and lead you through what? Through the Ruach HaKodesh, right? So if you're not believing in Yahushua HaMashiach and being led by the Ruach HaKodesh, who will lead you and guide you into all truths, he'll let you know when it's time to go. He'll let you know, walk, move, go here, go there. That's why I said this is a heart thing. Now it's starting to get real for some folks. Uh-oh. It's starting to get real for some folks. You mean now they're actually letting you know that these folks are starving? They're now letting you know that they can't really hardly pay no bills. They're now letting you know that they can't really do what they thought they're going to do. The comfort's not here. I know that's hard. That's tough. That's difficult. No, America's not coming back. So, family, I thank the Most High that He is moving. And on top of this, pray for our brothers and sisters on the continent. Pray that they continue to stand up. I'm not going to belittle, complain about any work that's advancing anything that will help to support us. You're in a ditch. Yeah, I'm in my ditch. The water's filling up. I'm about to drown, but I'm not going to take your rope because I don't want you to control this rope. How would you feel if somebody said that? Dang, I'm trying to help you on out. Can you just at least support me while we're trying to get this thing figured out? But again, that is a heart problem that we're all dealing with. Each and every one of us. I go through that every day. Pray for our brothers and sisters there trying to do the fight. Pray for them. And Eurocentric Christianity, shoot, we were actively praying for folks that literally were destroying us. Pray for Clinton, pray for Bush, pray for Obama. Now, I'm praying for our brothers and sisters over there on the continent. You know, and maybe I'll just defer this over to Teo Ministries. But understand, a large majority of the population group there in sub-Saharan Africa are of Israelite stock. They mixed in. I'm going to still say they're still our brothers and sisters. However you want to have that, you're vexing, you're envying. Again, that's between you and the Most High. I'm going to tell you that. I would say this. I'd rather figure it on out when we're in a place of safety. You can't figure anything else out when you're actually in a multi-generational prison. Because you want to know why? Because you're going to literally be thinking like you're prisoners. It's called Stockholm Syndrome. Yes, I know. There is literally a psychological operation to this. But that's why I said, look, we all have to pray for one another, our people. So, with that said, yeah, these are some touchy subjects, but I'm glad because we have to heal in this. This is an operation of the heart. I hope I didn't hit the buzzer too many times as I was taking out the funny bone and the neck bone and the clavicle bone. I wonder if they still had that game. Remember that game, Operation? You hit the little sides, you know, then the nose would light up. I had some folks' nose lighting up. They were getting triggered. Oh, hallelujah. But we all need to be triggered. We really do. Because, look, we all have to give this to the Most High in prayer. And He's going to lead us and guide us. That's it. That's it. No matter what. Now, if your feelings get hurt on this, again, that's between you and the Most High. I'm not here for feelings. I'm not. Feelings. Talk about my reparations. It's feelings. No cessation. The delineation has got me in a tizzy. Oh my goodness. I'm sorry. I had to bust that one on out. All right, family. Y'all have a blessed and wonderful day. Oh, if you like to support this channel, I appreciate your support. We are in some interesting times. Your support does go a long way. It supports the work in the background. So if you like the support, look, pray about it. And I thank you for your support, no matter what, no matter how small, no matter how great. I appreciate it. All we're trying to do is literally serve the Most High. That's it. All I want to do is just be obedient to His word. Because honestly, obedience is way better than sacrifice. And especially in this time, oh my goodness, we don't know. We don't know what's prepared. We don't know how things are going. But I know one thing, I love you all enough to let you know. Because I count you all as my family. So I want to make sure my family understands. And the Most High sees us as His family. So I'm not going to do wrong or ill towards my family, which is His family, not me. But again, Yasharel, you read in Jasher, you read in the Bible, the word. Woo! Israel was kind of, yeah, we were on one. But now we're coming together. And now that voice of bondage, of poverty, of lack is being rebuked off of us because we're not claiming it. And we're defeating it in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach. So with that said, family, I'm going to get up on out of here. I appreciate your support, your blessings, and your prayers. I really do. Whew. Keep me up in prayer. I was late today because honestly, my body just, I got up at 3:40. Thought I hit the snooze at about 5. I slept till 7, 7 o'clock. I overslept, just done. Oh, so I will try my best to get everything back in order tomorrow. Hallelujah. So with that said, family, Most High willing, I will see you back here tomorrow. Remember to share this broadcast, tell people, tell friends that our captivity is about to be done. If there's something that you need to understand, this to me just means our captivity is about to be over. I don't think within 6 months, I don't think within 12 months, but it's going to be soon. And here's the thing, I don't know. I'm not the Most High. It could be. Who knows? They could take up until 2063. Who knows? But all I know is the Most High is still Elohim. He's still in control. And he's an awesome father that loves his children. All you have to do is just trust him. That's it. So with that said, family, shalom, salama, siemi, shalom, peace and blessings. Yasharel.